Let's discuss gas. It can be a little bit weird because in a gas war, you're essentially participating in a very time sensitive blind auction that comes down to your priority fee beating other priority fees. But before we worry about your priority fee beating other priority fees, there are a couple of other considerations first. First consideration is your max fee higher than your priority fee? Because the max fee is the upper limit of what you're willing to pay for a transaction, and then the priority fee determines the order in which your transaction goes through. So the max fee has to be higher than the prio fee, otherwise you won't be able to send the transaction because you can't pay more in priority than you're willing to pay on the upper limit. So this is the first thing that matters. So if we look over at my handy chart, and then at the max fee, prio fee versus max here, we see that this one's not going to make it. Their max fee is 1 and the prio fee is 33. This is not going to make it because their max fee is 130 and their prio fee is 138, which is higher than the max. This is not going to make it. The max fee is 33, the prio fee is 106. Second consideration, is your max fee higher than the block base fee? And the block base fee is the number that you see in Block Native and other gas trackers that determines the amount of gas that you have to pay to get into the block. So your max fee has to be higher than that base fee, otherwise your transaction is going to sit around and it's not able to get into the block in the first place. This doesn't really matter as much in gas war scenarios, but it's still an important thing to have an understanding of. So here, let's look at the max fee versus base fee. Again, this one max fee is not going to make it when current gas is 20. This is not going to make it with a 4 max when the current block base fee is 20. Let's change the block base fee to something that we're more used to. It's been hovering around 14 lately. Here, this randomizes all the numbers. So here we see a max fee of 2 with a base fee of 14. You're not going to make it. This is not going to make it ever because their prio is higher than the max and the max is lower than the base. 7 max fee when gas is 14. You're not going to make it. And the prio fee is too high. Let's see if we can find one that's not going to make it just on one. This is not going to make it because the prio is higher than the max. Can we find any that are just the inverse? We're not going to find any that are the inverse. So let's assume that gas is kind of high. ETH has been pumping, and we'll get some other scenarios here. So now, base fee is 100. I want to find one where prio fee versus max is the only red. Here we go. So here, the max fee is 112, so you'll get into the base fee of 100. Let's just open Block Native. Their base fee is 143.90. I guess there's something going on. I should look at it, but I'm making a video. Let's do 143.90. We'll just do 143. So a lot of these transactions aren't going to make it, just in max fee versus base, which is kind of how it goes when gas is really high. People who would normally put 100 gas, when the base is 143, you're just not going to make it. You have to be higher than the base fee. So anyways, I think I've driven that point home. So the last consideration, as long as you're going to make it on both of these accounts, when it comes to a gas war, as long as you've got these other things taken care of, the only thing that matters is your prio fee compared to the other transactions' prio fees. So let's just add a conditional formatting. Let's just do a scale going up. So assuming these are all going to make it, let's make the base fee lower. So prio fee, in order of priority, basically is how these transactions are going to go. So if more transactions are using higher prio, oops, I just broke my chart, than yours, let's say there's 100 tokens and you're up against these 100 transactions. It's a really high intensity situation, and your prio fee has to be above the other top 100 prio fees that you want to get ahead of. So if everybody's willing to pay 142 prio, if 100 people are paying that and you're paying 67, you're not going to make it. Now, if 95 people are paying 68 and you put 67 and then everybody else is 66 and below, you're actually going to get it. You're basically number 60, or you're number 96 on that list of transactions. So hopefully that makes sense. Your prio fee is a blind auction that determines if you're going to get in. And the reason I say blind auction is because usually in a gas war situation, it's going to be over in like a minute's time. and you won't have time usually to look at the pending transactions, see what prio fee they're using, and beat them by one. There's usually not enough time for that. So you have to decide in advance how much you're willing to risk in your prio fee as you send the transaction, because everybody's sending their transactions at the same time once the mint opens, and then you basically have 1 or 2 blocks for all those transactions to be confirmed. So there's really not much time to go look at everything and then set the fees to be above everybody in a gas war situation. I think that covers everything. Let me know if there are any questions past this, and I'm gonna make another video. I'm pretty down bad right now, so I'll do something that's a little bit more structured. But let me know if you have any questions past this so I can make sure that they're covered in that video. Hope this helps. See ya.